Hey loves, welcome back to the channel where I share videos about sewing and pattern drafting. My name is Linda and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to draft and sew this beautiful dress you're seeing right here. So my client got this dress from TikTok and wanted to make a replica of it. This dress has a stylish yoke that runs from the side of the armhole to the neckline, giving the Queen Anne neckline look. Now, if this seems like what you're interested in, please keep on watching as we dive into the main video. Let's begin. So guys, as you can see on the work table, we already have the items. Here's the Ankara fabric and interfacing. I have my zipper and my bra cup. I also have the pattern paper followed by the net I'm going to be using for the upper part, and also I have my lining. So let's start drafting. Now I have my pattern paper and I've gone ahead to draft a half block basic bodice. So the next thing I'm going to do is to continue from where I stopped. I'm going to be marking the nipple to nipple measurement and I'm going to be placing the measurement just as you see me doing. Okay, her nipple to nipple is 7 inches and I'm marking 3.5 for half of that. So I'll go ahead now and connect the lines. As you can see, I marked the measurements on the bust point, the under bust, and the top length. So I'm just going to use a pencil to extend the lines in one line. So next thing I'm going to do now is to draft that for the under bust tightening. So I marked 1/2 inch at the inner pattern and then 1/2 inch below as well. So at the outer pattern, I'll go ahead now and just mark 1.5 inch because she's not that busty. So I'll go ahead and mark 1.5 inch. Altogether, total of what I have is 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and extend the measurement downwards at the waistline as well. So after doing that, the next thing I did was to connect the lines using a straight ruler, just like you see me doing. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to come upwards around the bust point. I'll be coming downwards from there by 1 inch, okay? And I'm going to curve it with my curve ruler to connect the other points. When doing this, please avoid making it so curvy and you get the right curve for your bra cup. Okay, so now I'm just going to smoothen the sharp edges and then I'll go ahead and place my tape rule like this. I'm going to be marking the depth of the neckline I want the dress to have. So this depends on you. You may want to have yours deeper so that the boobs can be revealed. So you can go ahead and just like check the length of what you have depending on the revelation of the boobs you want to achieve. So I went ahead to connect the line because I marked 7.5 inch there and I labeled it the upper chest line and I extended the bust span measurement upwards. So I'll go ahead now and measure what I have here. I'm going to be reducing it at the top, so I'll be marking 0.5 inch on both sides. Okay, so I'll mark 0.5 inch here. You can go ahead and make it 1/2 inch and you're good to go. So I marked 0.75 inch here, and on the outer part like this I went ahead to mark the same measurement. After doing that, I went ahead to connect the line with a straight ruler. So I'm just going to extend it to the bust point to stop here. So this dress was supposed to have a basque waistline, but my clients wanted it to appear this way. Next, I went ahead to place my tape rule at the center pattern like this. I'm going to be marking a point there by at least 1 inch to 1.25 inches so that it could be a little more deeper. And after doing that, I went ahead to come inwards by 1/2 inch from there. So I just marked 1/2 inch, just the way you see me doing. And that is where the center of our bustier will begin. So go ahead and extend the lines just like you see me doing. And after that, I'm going to be using my curve ruler to connect it from this point all the way to the under bust point, just like this, and also from this point to the armhole part. So guys, I also went ahead to deepen this part to tighten the upper bust by 0.25 inch and I went ahead to connect the lines just like you see me doing. So I'm going to curve it like this, placing my curve ruler this way, and then I'm going to flip it the other way around to connect the other side of the cup. After marking my body measurements, I went ahead to connect the lines including the sewing allowances, and then I connected this point. Now it's time to draft the back pattern. So this is what the front looks like. I'm going to head over to start drafting the back. So I went ahead to also mark a starting line just like I did for the front, and after doing that I went ahead to extend all the other lines across the back to serve as a guide for drafting the back piece. So guys, I went ahead to mark 1.5 inch for the zipper allowance. You can go ahead and mark 2 inches because that's what I normally use, but because I am trying to manage my paper, I marked 1.5 inch. So after that, I placed my tape rule this way to mark the nipple to nipple measurement, just like I did for the front. And then I went ahead to connect the lines with the straight ruler. So guys, after I was done with that, next thing I did was to mark the half of the shoulder measurement of about 8 inches, and then I also went ahead to mark the neckline of 3.5 inch by the width. And then for the depth, I chose to make use of the V neckline. This is because my client chose V neckline, but later she changed her mind and went for the round neckline. But I'm just going to illustrate it for you guys to see how to achieve this. I already have a video tutorial. I'm going to be leaving a link at the top of the screen or the description box on how to properly draft this. I'm just going to go ahead right now and mark the depth for the armhole for the back piece and connect with a straight ruler as well. After I was done with that, I went ahead to curve the armhole line just like this and also extended it to the other side. So I went ahead to smoothen the rough and sharp edges. Now I went ahead to include the darts for the back piece. I went inwards and outwards on both sides by half of an inch, and that will make up for 1 inch. Then I connected the dart legs just like you see me doing. So guys, I also went ahead to come downwards by 1 inch so that I can extend the neckline for the back a little more deeper, and then I connected the lines as well. And that's basically it for the back piece. Next thing I went ahead to just mark the body measurements and add the necessary sewing allowances and the dart intake allowance before connecting the lines. So I'm going to label this as the back yoke, just like I labeled the front piece. So after doing that, I went ahead to cut out everything. So guys, this is what I had after cutting. This is how the front piece looks like, and this is where the bra cup is going to be sitting on. Okay, so I'll go ahead now and cut out the rest of the cup, but if you want, you can leave it this way. So I'll go ahead now and remove the cup pattern because I'm going to be using a bra cup. After doing that, I went ahead to set the patterns aside and work on the back. So here's what the back piece looks like. I'm going to be having 2 pieces for the back, and then I'll fold in this dart for the back on my fabric. Then heading over to the yoke for the front, I'll go ahead and bring another pattern paper to modify this yoke. Okay, so I'm going to be making use of the outer part like this. So the next thing I did was to mark a point just like you see me doing, and then trace out the outlines for the yoke at the sides, and then I also went ahead to trace the top. So the next thing I did here was to increase the length of the yoke I am trying to get from this yoke. So I'm going to be adding extra 3 inch or 2.5 inch, but I went for 3 inch. So I'll go ahead and add it at the sides just like you see me doing. Then I'll connect this line all the way like this, and then I will remove this, and then I'm going to use my pencil to connect this into a straight line. This is if you choose to make yours to look straight, but because we are trying to get that curvy stylish yoke that brings out the Queen Anne neckline, we are going to be making a curve on the lower part. So after marking the lines, I discovered it's not giving me what I want, so I went ahead to also use my free hand to curve it out and make it look so curvy, just the way it is on the picture. So this is what I achieved. I'm going to be doing away with the other line. I'm not going to be using that anymore. So we have successfully transformed this yoke into a stylish yoke, just like you see. And then I'm just going to place the front and the back yoke side by side to see what they look like. Now I'm going to be extending this neckline into the back piece. Okay, this is because I wanted to have that one seam line pattern, which the fabric is going to be a net. So I'll go ahead and sellotape these ones that I cut out back once more, because my client wanted a round neckline for the back. And then I'll also go ahead and sellotape this part that I divided into two, because I want to shift it somewhere else. So this is what it looks like after I was done sellotaping everything together. You can see that this line is running into the back. So now the black net is going to cover this pattern, running from the front into the armhole line and then to the zipper. Next, I'm going to be drafting a round neckline for the back. Okay, I'm going to be giving 2 inches for the depth, and then I'll maintain the initial width that I'm using for the general neckline. So I'll go ahead and connect it like this with a curved ruler, and this is what I had. I'll go ahead and cut it out and separate the patterns. So the back piece, as you can see, is divided into two. So I have one for the neck and one for the Ankara fabric, as you can see. And then this is the Ankara fabric. I'm going to be folding it in on fabric to take in the darts. Okay, now I'm going to cut out the yoke pattern for the front. So these are what the patterns look like. This is the front piece together with the bra cups, and these are all the patterns I have derived so far. This is how we are going to be cutting it out on fabric, and this yoke part is going to be overlapping on the side front, just like you see me placing them together. Now this is what I have for the first yoke I cut out initially, and this is our modified yoke pattern. So guys, this is the Ankara fabric my client got for this style, and this is the net I'm going to be using for the upper part of the yoke and the back piece as well. So now it's time to cut out the pattern on the fabric, and as you can see, I am giving 1/2 inch sewing allowance all around. I also went ahead to lace the back piece with the black net, and this is because I wanted to have that look that I explained initially. So the Ankara fabric will be underneath the net while the net stays above the Ankara fabric, just like you see me placing them together. So after I was done cutting the back piece, I went ahead to mark the wrong sides and set the side. Now it's time to cut out the front. So I'll go ahead and place my front piece pattern on the wrong side of the fabric like this and pin them in place. Then I also placed the bra cup pattern in place and pin them as well. So I'm just going to be marking out the measurements on fabric and also add extra 1/2 inch for the joining allowance. I will do that for the bra cup as well. After cutting out the front pattern, I also did the same thing for the yoke pattern. This time around, I'm cutting 4 pieces for the yoke, as you can see. So I have 2 for each side. And in total, I have all the patterns I needed for the front piece. I also went ahead to cut out the back piece and then the skirt pattern for the front and the back skirt. Now this is the lining part. I have fused it together with my interfacing and also repeated the same thing for the front piece. Okay, also the bra cup, I went ahead to stitch them together to make them into one piece for each bra cup. Then I shaped the bra cup a little bit. I also went ahead to do the same thing for the lining part. As you can see, I've stitched them together, and also for the back, I went ahead to interface it and also place my neck and also indicated my zipper allowance. I went ahead to iron it together. This is what I have for the back. Now I have gone ahead to stitch the skirt pattern, and this is what the front looks like. Okay, and also this is the back piece. I have 2 pieces for the back. I've ironed it thoroughly on the ironing board. Now I've stitched the bustier for the lining part, and this is what I have. I also went ahead to notch it and press it, and for the main pattern, this is what I have as well. I repeated the same thing by notching everything after I was done stitching. I also left about 1/2 inch at the top for joining. And as for the bra cup, I fused it together with the main fabric using the hemming gum. So now I'm going to place everything together with the right sides facing each other, and then I'm going to stitch the up by half of an inch. After doing that, I'm going to also remove the pins from the yoke pattern, and then I will go ahead and place the lining which I'm going to be using to cover the transparency. So I'll place it like this on the top because these two sides are facing each other. So I'll go ahead and place the lining piece just as you see me doing, and I'm just going to secure the lining piece with my pins to keep them in place and stop them from moving around. And after doing that, I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side as well before stitching them on the machine like this by half of an inch. So this is what the inner part of the bustier looks like after I was done stitching them together. I also went ahead to top stitch on it, and I also added hemming gum while I was stitching them together so that it can stick together when I'm pressing it. Now this is my yoke pattern. I'm going to be sticking them on top of the pattern like this. So remember I told you I'm going to be overlapping it on top of this pattern, and I'm just going to take the measurements of what I had on my pattern paper. So from the top of the shoulder to the chest line is 7.5, just like I drafted. I also left half-inch joining allowance at the shoulder, so I'll go ahead and press it nicely. So guys, this is what I had after I was done. I went ahead to trim the sides, and also I'm going to attach the lower part. So now this is what everything looks like. I've stitched the upper part in place and the lower part as well. I did the same thing for the front and the back piece. So I'll go ahead and join the shoulders together, and this is what I have. I also went ahead to attach my zipper. This is how everything is coming together. So now the next thing I did now was to go ahead and attach that little fabric that is folded on the waistline somewhere around here, and I used freehand to cut a particular piece of fabric and gathered it at the side. So I'm going to be placing it this way on the front piece and then stitch them together. This is what I had after I closed the sides, and this is the back piece. I've also gone ahead to attach the sleeves, and this is how the net on the yoke is running into the back piece. Now this is the sneak peek of how the dress came out. Thank you for staying with me to this extent. If this video has been helpful to you, please hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.